Right. Just give a second. Mm. All right, we'll just wait while we have our participants joining in, and in the meantime, I will share my screen. There we go. So anyone who's logged in, do use the chat box and do share where you are logging in from, which part of the world. So this is for everyone, and I'm from Bangalore. There we go. All right, so let's kick it off. So welcome to our webinar on empowering agile teams and advanced strategies for product owners. So I'm Aarti and I'll be hosting the session for all of you. And to start off, this webinar is being recorded for you. So in case you miss parts of it or want to come back later and review it again, that will be shared with you over email as we do have your information. And we will also be sharing the slides that I'll be showing you through this session. All right. What you can also do is in the chat box, drop your email ID to us, and that can also help us ensure that you get it 100%. All right. So our game plan for today is, and this is for this webinar, is that it's going to go something like this, that we've got a little bit of greetings and introductions that are going to happen. And that's where I share a little bit about who I am, what I do, what my background is like, and the organization that I work with. And then we'll also be looking at what are the challenges that product owners face and how, or what are the different tools that can be used or strategies that can be used for POs out there. Okay. And along with that, I've got some bonus content, which I'm quite excited to share. And we do have some next steps and some Q&A also followed after that. So a little bit about myself. I'm based out of Bangalore in India, and I come with about 12 plus years of experience. I'm a trainer and a facilitator or a coach. I'm also accredited as a Kanban trainer. So I deliver trainings at Kanban, Scrum, coaching, facilitation, and any other tailored programs that are out there. So I started my career in hospitality industry, and then I moved into project management, and then kind of dipped my feet into the world of facilitation coaching, and that's where it has brought me as I am here so far. And also what I do is I do work with clients or organizations where I'm setting them up for success, working through with them through transformations. So whatever I do learn out there, I implement it on, on ground with the teams that I work with. Outside of work, some of these images that are there, I do have two lovely dogs, Luna and Millie. In case you hear them bark, I'm sorry, that's something I cannot control, but yes, I will try to, put them aside. And otherwise, I do like a bit of baking and playing some sports over the weekend. So that's a bit about me. And a bit about the sponsor or the organization that I work with, that is Leadership Tribe. So a lot of my work that I do with them, it involves business processes, re-engineering using tools like Agile, and even incorporating, latest researches or using different kind of methodologies and tools out there that help change the game. So as Leadership Tribe, what do? We facilitate a lot of workshops and trainings, which are accreditation based, or also, any other topics or tailored programs that an organization or a private group might want. So that leads to larger group facilitations also. And we do a lot of online training too, on site and offline. So that is us as an organization. If you're curious to know more, you've got a website that you can reach out to, or even my colleague later on will be dropping our email ID. Most welcome to reach out to us for any kind of support that you need. So let's kick off with the webinar. So sometime last week, we had put out a question on, LinkedIn. And we had asked this question, that which aspect of agile product ownership do you find most challenging? So these were the four options that we had given: fostering innovation with teams, adapting quickly to the changes in product scopes, implementing agile practices effectively, or any others. And we had the option for you to even put it in the chat on LinkedIn. So I'm even curious now, in case you missed the, poll question on LinkedIn. You're most welcome to use the chat box here and select everyone so that we all can see what your option is. All right. So this is what the poll gave us. This was our final results here. So our poll results said that 100% have chosen that they find implementing these agile practices as one of their biggest challenges. So talking of challenges, I'm going to be showing you some of the challenges that product owners face. And I've also faced them over my course of experience with the work that I do. And it could be that it could be few of these challenges, or it could be a lot of them also. It doesn't have to be all, right? So these are a few that we have seen out there. There could be many more. So which ones do you resonate to? Just have a think about it. All right. So here, these are some of the challenges that are faced by product owners. Okay. And this is what we've heard. This is what we've experienced also. Something as simple as balancing priorities, that as product owners, often we've got to juggle with multiple stakeholders, with conflicting priorities that are there. They need to prioritize tasks or maybe even features that are providing the most value to the product. Also, at the same time, ensuring that the needs of those stakeholders that you're working with are met, right? Or it could be even something like decision making, where product owners are frequently faced with the challenge of having to make those tough decisions or making those calls that this feature has to be prioritized, or what changes need to be made based on the feedback that your customer has given you, or pivot the product's direction based on the need or the requirement out there. And that can be challenging at times, right? It could be the conflict with the teams, or ensuring that everybody understands what the given ask is. It could also be like communication aspect, that as a product owner you need to be able to communicate effectively with your teams, not just the teams, it's also with your stakeholders here. On As a product owner, what you're doing is you're conveying what your vision is, what is the goal that's there, what is the requirement, or what is that product that your development team is going to be creating. So having that clear, concise communication is very important. So these are some of the challenges that are there. Okay. So, looking at these challenges, the truth is that the role of a PO is evolving, right? The role is evolving, you're always growing as you learn also. It doesn't just happen overnight, right? So when we're talking about the evolving role, like I said, that, it's a journey that one is on, right? So when we're looking at the evolving role of product owners, it's not, or let me rephrase that it's always about the outcomes and not, just the output out there. And we get that. So it's about connecting with people. It's about advocating what that user's voice is, right? Understanding what is it in for them, and, understanding what is that value that you're driving and moving that needle forward. So to achieve that, to tease out this information, one has to collaborate, interact with your teams, interact with your stakeholders, and tease out that information. So as you're evolving in this role, some of the things that you can, look at or consider are these, that you're focusing on the business outcomes. Some of the questions that you can ask in, this field is that, that how do you ensure that maybe the feature that's being developed is aligned with that business goal that's there? Or how are you measuring the success of, the product or the feature beyond your traditional metrics that's there? And not just, financially, the revenue or the user engagement. What else can you measure? Or you're looking at writing those interview questions. What kind of questions are you going to ask your stakeholders? What kind of questions are you going to ask your target audience out there? Or the kind of data that you collect, or even the questions that you ask your team members there? And advocating for the user voice. How do you gather and, prioritize those user feedbacks, or, in that development process that's taking place? Or what are the strategies that you're going to employ to ensure that the user remains that center of decision making through that development cycles that's there? And simultaneously, you're also collaborating and communicating. You're working with cross-functional teams. It could be your developers, your designers, even your stakeholders, right? What are those communication tools that or techniques that you're using to ensure that you are effectively communicating with your stakeholders and keeping them informed and engaged through the process and journey? Strategic thinking and leadership. How do you stay informed about the industry trends, the competitors that are out there? What are the activities out there to, that your product can be built further or better on, and also the strategy that you're using for your product. Or how are you going to empower your teams to take ownership with the work that they're doing to achieve that product goal or vision that you have. And lastly, over here, the continuous learning aspect, that as product owners or even as leaders in the organization, how are you prioritizing your personal and professional development, right? What are those resources or the communities that you're reaching out to or regularly engaging with to be able to stay updated on those best practices out there? So it's mainly about focusing, uh, not only on the delivering value, but also more on the role of you as a product owner. How do you as a product owner now with all these challenges, how do you mitigate it? So to mitigate that, one way is for you to use different kind of toolkits. There are a lot of them out there if you go search for them, and they are very customizable and it's not limited. These are some examples also of it. So what you're looking at doing is you're aiming to identify, you're capturing and, communicating what that vision is to your stakeholders and the people that are doing the hands-on work. And, it could also just be your developers also. So look at it. What are the tools that you can use to engage with them as you go forward? Yeah. So there's a little case study that I have here. Okay. And so this is about, like I think, yeah, about 4 years ago, this was a leading digital agency that wanted to, wanted help in scaling some of their best practices to adapt to the changing market needs that are out there. But then COVID happened, lockdown happened, and, a lot of changes took place. And as a result of that, there was a lot of chaos within the organization and not just with the organization but also with the client that was going through a similar journey. So to understand that situation better, what the team did was they started looking at what the current state of nation is and brought in consultants and looked at doing a value stream from end to end and mapping the processes out and re-engineering the value that's to be delivered end to end. So for which that as a result, this is the slide gives you a lot of information out there of what happened, what the project was about, what the scope was, and we're looking at the results aspect. So how did they get that 35% reduction in, time to deliver? So they started out with pilot teams, and even some of the pilot teams showed this great result that I've spoken of. And how we did it was that, doing that investigation, we saw an interesting path that there was a lot of challenge and miscommunication when it came to the product owners. We are looking at the wall of the product owner. Okay. So what are the strategies that we used and what can you use are these over here. These are some strategies. So you've got, simple tools that this organization, this group of product owners started with was value management. So, teams started working on understanding the flow of the value, getting from looking at the start of what the idea was, the vision is, getting, going through that, looking at what those principles were, and then expanding the view through the entire stream that's there and looking at it. How can you optimize that funnel and look at it, and how do you improve that funnel as you go forward? So delivery is definitely the easier part. So if you look at project development, right, about 60% is value management, about 40% is delivery. So looking at value stream, what you're doing is you're looking at how can we optimize, how can we get better, right? And there are a lot of different tools out there to work with your teams through this process and journey. And also on the other hand, that what I do, say to a lot of people is get trained or get mentored, that there are a lot of trainings out there, and even Leadership Tribe does trainings on product ownership. Learn so that everybody can speak the same language also with your teams, or even mentoring, that reach out to people that have the experience and, take that guided advice from them also and see what can you take from that and implement, right? And lastly, there is this, which is storytelling. Okay. Now, storytelling is something that I'm going to talk about further. This is part of my bonus material that is there. So I'm going to take a quick pause before I get to that bonus material. And I would like to see if there are any questions for us out here. At the moment, I don't see any. Let me check the Q&A. All right. So this leads me to the bonus material. Fun times, right? So this is it. So here, the power of science and storytelling, right? So in neuroscience, what research shows is that every decision that we make is based on emotions, right? I would like you to take a, have a think about any of the decisions you've made recently, or even think of the last 10 decisions you've made recently. Was it based on data or was it based on emotions, or how much of each? What was that balance of it? It's just a thought that you have. Okay. So when we're talking of that and talking of emotions, these are emotions that, when we talk of emotions, there are different hormones that are, that play a role, and, come from the brain. And that is what stories do. So stories or any content, they create emotions. And there is a way, that stories are being told. And this is how, we as human beings learn also and remember things. It is through our stories that we share. So I recommend that you can explore a little more about these in your own time when it comes to these different, hormones versus the emotions, how they play a role and such. Yeah. And another thing is, this is another really great example that I have, and this is from Randy Olson. Okay, so what he talks about is that it's called the ABT storytelling theory. Okay, and it's from the Giddensburg Address, and it's, what they're doing is it starts from the context. They're looking at the problem and then therefore the solution, right? So this is a very great book that, and a colleague of mine also highly recommends this book because it talks about why science needs a story and how one can use storytelling as a tool to connect better with your audience or with your teams. So if you want to practice this, technique, there's one small template that I have for you. It's super easy to use and very simple. Okay, so this is that bonus content, part of the bonus content, which is storytelling template. So if you look at it over here, it starts with a date and time. So example, like you can say 4 years ago or 6 months ago, and they were doing something. I've made an error here, but yes, and they were doing something. So here you are talking about what is it that they were doing. So example, for 6 months ago, the team was working on building a website for one of their clients, but something happened. There was a change over here. So like, but the client's requirements kept changing every week, which caused a lot of frustrations amongst the team and a lot of miscommunications about what exactly that was the task to do. And this created a lot of anxiety for the team, right? And they did this. So in this, they worked together as a team. They talked about their anxieties, the challenges. They looked at what is the current state, what's happening, how are they feeling. They looked at the emotions aspect. And therefore, as a result, what happened is that they were able to go back to the product owners and go back to the stakeholders and have an open conversation and dialogue with them about what is happening, when, what can they do better. And this led to them being able to work better and deliver better value and on time also, right? So this is your story template, right? So when you're looking at any kind of story that you are building or forming, look at what is the emotion that you're leaving your listener with, okay? Have a think about it. So this brings me to the next steps. So when we talk about next steps, okay, there are a lot of training programs, which the team at Leadership Tribe has been conducting and is conducting. My colleague will drop a couple of links in the chat box, and these are to do with the upcoming trainings that are there. So mainly it's like a waitlist link that's there because we've got an Agile Coach Bootcamp that's coming up. We've got a product ownership course coming up, and also even enterprise coaching. So use the link, sign up for it, and my colleague Madan would reach out to you directly and take it forward from there. But on another hand, if you want to have a conversation with any of us from the team, you can drop us a note at hello@leadershiptribe.com, or you can even go over to our website and reach out to us or block a calendar session with us. All right. So on that note, we can call it a day, and thank you for listening in.